What if you could turn your small condo into a garden oasis like this? Soon as summer hits Toronto, all of the parks immediately fill up, and it's honestly hard to even film here without anyone in the background because everyone is just trying to get to a green space and enjoy it as much as possible. I live in a condo here in Toronto, and honestly, it can be very difficult to try and find green spaces where you're not right beside a road or there's just heavy traffic and you feel like you're just surrounded by people constantly. Since I've moved to the city, I have found it very difficult to feel connected to nature like I did growing up. Between the constant hum of traffic that's literally right beside me and all of the city towers, it's really easy for me to feel disconnected from nature. So that is why I decided to bring nature into my small condo. So then it can feel like you're surrounded by this all year long. And you can transform what feels like a small, cramped, concrete white wall space into what I like to call a calming garden sanctuary, embodying something like this. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you exactly how I've transformed my small space into a garden oasis, and I'm going to take you along with me as I actually add some more plants to my space. So let's dive in to gardening and get away from this really busy, heavy traffic that I need to go buy a mic to fix this issue. I apologize for any audio issues because of this busy road behind me, but I feel like it kind of makes my point even more, ironically. Okay, time to garden. So I've got my indoor dirt here. I highly recommend getting at least one bag because the plants that you buy, they won't have enough dirt in them when you put them in an actual pot. Highly also recommend gardening gloves. You can literally just get these at Dollarama. The most important part are plants. So these are all of the plants that we're going to be putting on the balcony. So all of these guys in this bin are going to be going in my balcony pots, which I literally just got these cheap like plastic pots from Dollarama because I literally just leave them out there in the winter. I don't care what happens to them. And since they're plastic, they won't crack in the cold. So highly recommend that if you don't have room in your condo to bring them in the winter, then they're just totally fine to leave outside. But one of the first steps we'll have to do before we put all of these plants into our balcony containers is drill holes into the bottom of the pots so all of the water will drain. This is a big lesson that I literally just learned this past year. Whenever there was a rainstorm that came through, all of this water would get stuck in my pots. And previously, I drilled holes into one of them, but then the other ones didn't have holes, so then they would just fill up with water. Then it wouldn't absorb fast enough, so then they'd get all algae and it was really gross, and I would have to go out there and like manually drain it. So pro tip is to drill holes in your pots when you get them, especially if they're going on your balcony, because it'll just drain all of that excess water out. These are herbs for inside. I also learned a lesson last summer from gardening. I put all of my herbs in these pots on the balcony, but then I don't know what happened, but they got infested with all of these little black bugs, and then all of the herbs were just inedible because they were all covered in all these little bugs. And I ended up bringing my rosemary plant in for the winter without even realizing it, and then it spread to my other plants. It was a disaster. It was actually quite sad. I lost one of my favorite plants that I had for so long and it had grown so big, but then it got infested with the bugs and I couldn't get rid of the bugs no matter how much I sprayed, no matter what I did. So we ended up having to throw her out. So lesson learned, make sure that if you bring plants in from outside, you isolate them first before introducing them into areas where you have other plants, because then you will learn the hard way like me, and those bugs will spread to all of your other plants. So Be careful when you're bringing plants in the fall before winter because you don't want that to spread, but I'm a little worried that that will happen again to my herbs. So what we're going to do is keep all of the herbs inside so then we can guarantee that we will be able to eat them. And then we're going to put some cute flowers and tomatoes as well as a little lavender plant outside. So I'm thinking we'll put the tomatoes in the bigger black bins so they have more space to root, and then we'll put the flowers in the smaller brown bins. But like I said, we need to drill the holes first. So let's get the drill. If you can't tell, this pot is like all green on the top from algae from all of the water that never drained out of it. So we gotta drill some little holes on the bottom. First one done. I just put a couple holes. You probably can't see it from all the way over there, but I just put a couple holes on each side, and then now this guy will be able to drain. The other one was already done, so now we just have to make sure that we do these guys. I think I might just do this one on one side because it'll be a lot more obvious if I do it on both sides. You'll see all of the holes. Okay, I think that's good enough. So I think it'll be more obvious on this guy. It's not very straight, but you can see I just put a bunch of holes across there, and then this guy will be able to drain. And we won't have to deal with any more algae issues like I was dealing with last year. And if you do have some sort of like gardening cushion, that will help a lot with your knees because my knees are honestly already feeling it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with the tomatoes. So we have some cherry tomatoes. We have a 4th of July tomato. They had a ton of different tomatoes at the garden store that we went to. This particular garden store was honestly great because it listed how many days it takes for them to grow tomatoes. And this one was the closest. And I think that's hence the name, 4th of July. It must start to grow tomatoes around the 4th of July. So we were like, okay, yeah, let's try and get as many tomatoes as we can. So let's get the one that grows the fastest. So we got 2 4th of Julys, which we'll put in one. And then we got 2 cherry tomatoes that fit in another. And both of these guys, so tomatoes take full sun. So if your balcony gets a ton of sun, or if you're actually just gardening in your backyard and you have an area that gets a ton of sun, highly recommend getting tomatoes. They will do great. And you should break up the roots a bit. It's kind of counterintuitive to actually break up the roots because then it feels like, oh my God, you're killing the plant. But it actually will encourage it to grow more in the pot. So first one is done. I'm going to water them all at the same time. So whenever you plant something, you should make sure that you give it a good water afterwards. But we're going to leave that and do all the watering at the end. So like I said before, we have our cherry tomatoes going in this one. We're going to do also on the diagonals. These guys seem a little bit more flimsy for some reason. So maybe I haven't been putting them in the sun enough. So I'm hoping now that they have this whole pot, they'll kind of firm up, or else I might have to get some little like bamboo sticks to hold these guys up. Okay, so there's our tomatoes. I'm honestly really excited about this. I'm really excited to have some like fresh tomatoes for salads or other things in the summer. And I think it's so fun to actually be growing them myself. I personally can't wait until I have my own backyard. But like I said before, we're making the best of it by still bringing all of the plants into our balcony, even while we're living in the city. So let's push those guys aside. And now we'll bring our flowers over. We got some cosmos, an assortment of dragonflies. Both of these take full sun, and honestly my balcony gets torched in the morning because we're facing east, and in the summer it honestly feels like a sauna out there. So it's really important that the flowers that I get and the plants that I get take full sun because we get a lot of sun here. It's really, really nice, but you just need to be aware when you're going to the garden center, make sure you're checking the back of the tags here to see that it actually says full sun or shade or medium or like half or whatever it says. Just make sure to double check. We're gonna do cosmos and then these other cute little white flowers that also take full sun. Okay, I am obsessed. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I love the color and the height of the cosmos, and then these white guys just like fill out the bottom. This is what I mean, guys. Plants make you so much happier and just bring so much extra joy to your space, and it's fun. I love gardening. If you don't like gardening and you see it as a chore, this may not be for you. Maybe it's more fun to just watch someone else do it. But I honestly highly recommend giving it a try and adding some more plants to your balcony because I bet when you wake up in the morning or you go out to have your coffee on the balcony, it'll just add a little bit more joy to the whole experience and add some more life to your space. So, number one done. Next, we got the last of the flower pots. So we have the snapdragons for this one, along with the same white guys. Okay, let's get started on the last flower pot, and then we'll get to the herbs. And that one is done. This is not as satisfying as a finished product because the snapdragons obviously haven't bloomed yet, but once they do, it's going to look so pretty. And I actually don't even know what color these guys are. We just got a mix. So it's going to be a surprise of what color of snapdragon we have mixed in with the cosmos. So now the flowers are done. My knees are feeling it on the ground here. We have a ton of dirt. Now we need to figure out what pots to plant all of our herbs in. So next, we're putting all our herbs in. So I have an assortment of like honestly just random pots that I've had other plants in that they've just grown too big and I've had to buy a bigger pot. I'm just realizing we have more plants than pots. I have 5 pots and I have 6 plants. Another pro tip. Check you have enough pots before you start gardening so you don't end up in a situation like me, squishing 2 plants into one. So we'll keep that one in the house, obviously. Learned my lesson, like I said last year. Let's do the lavender next. I love the smell of lavender, but I've never had lavender as a plant before, so I wasn't sure how difficult it would be to take care of it. Even someone like me who has a ton of plants is still worried about getting them and killing them. Because some plants are honestly so picky. Like for example, this like tree behind me is like an African tree. I forget the exact name of it, but I had it in full sun and I was watering it way too much, way, way too much, to the point that it was like losing all of its leaves. So then I looked it up and it was like, oh no, this plant is used to growing in a desert and expects like large waterings all at once and then not for long periods of time. And especially not in the winter when it's like the dry season. So definitely do your research before you get any sort of new plant. It is a Friday night and I also took the day off work today. It is the May long weekend, and I've honestly just been working so much overtime, so apologies for those 2 weeks I missed uploading. It's been a lot of overtime working, so long overdue day off, and I think I'm gonna be mixing in like Fridays or Mondays off this summer just to enjoy the summer more. Okay, the time is done. But now will be the big reveal. So now we can do a before and after of the balcony. We'll go put all of these flowers and tomatoes out on the balcony and then we'll find some spots for all of the herbs and the lavender somewhere in the house. I'm so excited for you guys to see the before and after. I think it's going to be a huge difference. Okay, let's go. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I can't wait for you guys to see. I would love to know in the comments down below what you think. It's a little difficult to show the results because the balcony and the space itself is so tiny that like my camera needs like a 0.5 to like zoom out for you to actually see everything. I think that just emphasizes even more that even though it's a small space, you can still fit herbs, vegetables, flowers all in your space and make it that more homey, and it honestly doesn't take that much effort. Even though I sped up a lot of those clips, all of that took me maybe an hour just to do all of that gardening myself, and I just did it in my living room with some Dollarama gloves. So if you're looking to add more of a garden to your small space, you have no excuses. You can definitely do it. I hope this inspires you to not only put some more flowers on your balcony, but to also incorporate more plants inside, because honestly that is what brings me a lot of joy, especially in the winter time. So the point is that even if you have a small space like my little balcony, or if you have like one little corner, you can add some plants to your space and it honestly changes the whole vibe of it. And if you have any like random shelves like this in your kitchen, I have a bunch of plants up there too. Get creative. Buy some little stools to put your plants on if you're like, I have nowhere to put them and I just have these little plants, they're just gonna be on the ground, it's gonna look really funny. Then just get some stools from like HomeSense. We love a HomeSense haul. Go check out HomeSense, see what they have. If you are a plant lover, I would love to know in the comments down below, because this is honestly kind of a little bit of a random vlog for my channel. I just love plants and I wanted to share that with all of you guys. So I hope this was fun to watch, regardless of whether or not you're going to actually garden or add any plants to your home. I hope it inspires you to do so. Stay tuned for some more fun vlogs, whether that is travel related or wellness or just exploring the city this summer. I would love to have you along for the journey, and I'd love to have you join the community. So make sure to subscribe if you aren't already. I would really, really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm a lot if you like and comment on this video. And I will see you guys next week on Sunday. Bye.